In this video, we're going to talk about automation. In visits with many of prospects and customers, we've gotten a lot of questions around how to use Centrify tools for public and private cloud scenarios, specifically for automation. What I want to make a distinction is between the one-time steps, like establishing a public and private cloud and its communication with Active Directory. There's several strategies for that. The creation of things like service accounts, making sure that they have the proper rights within AD and Centrify zones, etc. We have a good posting on that. The building of images that have the proper network settings, that have the proper software installed, the governance model using hierarchical zones, child zones, or computer roles. Remember, classic zones are not efficient. They all use structure, the naming conventions, how the add moves or changes are done, and the creation of the scripts that are going to work with the orchestration solution. So those are one-time steps. What I want to focus today is on what are the things that typically you would have to do from an operational perspective. And I'm not just going to show you a script and there you go, voila, it works. We're going to talk about what are the details around it. So I'm going to split this video in two parts. But first, let's take a look at what I have. So what I have is I have a Centrify zone that is completely clean. There's nothing in there. I have a set of Active Directory users based on The Simpsons. The Centrify zone has two computer roles, web servers and PCI servers. So the whole goal is to be able to launch an image and be able to join it to Active Directory, the right zone, join the computer role, and do it with Centrify tools and enforcing the principles of least privilege access and separation of duties. So, but first, let me take a look at my image, make sure that is running. So I just launched the image, so I gotta figure out the IP address. So let's just grab this one. And first and foremost, let's go ahead and connect. So I'm gonna go ahead and just load these sessions here and connect. So what are some of the first time steps that have been done? Notice that I'm logging in for the first time. So one of the things that I did was I created a service account, right? So that service account was granted the ability to join systems to Active Directory using the delegation and control wizard. So typically you would go, we already have a posting on that, so I'm not going to go into detail on that. The next thing we needed to do was to delegate zone control. So there's the permissions to add the system to AD. Then there's the permissions that the user needs to have to join computers or remove computers to the zone, which are the ability to join computers to the zone, remove computers to the zone from the zone, and modify computer profiles. So all this is the permissions that needed to be had. In this particular post, I'm actually adding a little twist to it. So we have a role assignment that allows people like Marge Simpson to be sysadmins in all systems. But most likely you are using computer roles as well, and you may have systems like web servers that need to be accessed by different people. So in here, basically what I have is I have a group in AD, and Bart belongs to that group, and he's a web administrator. So we have a different access model where Marge can log in through any protocol. Bart only can log in through SSH and perform limited functions. So for me to be able to remember, computer roles are basically contained in Active Directory groups. So I have this Active Directory group right here. And if we do things the right way, what we would do is typically have an OU that contains groups for the purposes of contributor roles. At this point, all I needed to do was to delegate control, and I needed to find that AD joiner account, and there's a predefined manage or modify memberships for a group, and that's it. So what's going to happen is that the account now has the minimum set of rights. It has the ability to join computers only to this OU, to the service OU. It has the ability to join computers to this zone, and it has the ability to modify memberships of groups in this particular OU. The next thing we have to think about, for example, for me, it was a little hard because I'm not an AWS guy. So I had to figure it out, which is, the names in AWS were really long. So there's a limitation, that the legacy limitation for computer names is 15 characters plus the $sign. So I needed to use, in Amazon, they have this user data field, right, in which you can do some post functions. So I actually did that, and when you look at AWS, they have basically unique names for the instance ID. So all I did was that my host names are going to be AWS- the instance ID, and this is why my my host names is AWSI, and then the name of the unique ID of the instance. So it was more planning than what I needed to do with Centrify. If I outline, like a lot of my scripts have a little bit of error handling and whatnot, but pretty much I only added probably 10 lines of code to get what I'm going to show you. And in the second part of the video, we're going to see it all together, okay?